going to be doing today is the Sumo Deadlift. This is my favorite type of deadlift. It is more leg dominant rather than focusing on your back. The Sumo Deadlift works the front of your legs, through your quads, your hamstrings, your glutes, your side glutes, your back. Pretty much works everything, which I kind of love about it. But it is heavily focused on the glutes because of the sumo position. So a sumo position is basically having a really wide stance, but having your feet pointed outwards. In this case, you're really going to activate your gluteus maximus, as well as your gluteus minimus and medius. So the way to perform a sumo deadlift is to do that exact stance that I just showed you. So I think I'm going to perform it this way so you can see. So you go really wide, or as wide that's comfortable. Don't be super uncomfortable. It just has to be wider than shoulder width. And you're going to want to point your toes that way, like to the side, outwards. Okay, got my broomstick. Now in this case, at the Romanian deadlift, you have your hands on the outside, just about outside your legs, or if not, at the width of your legs. For the Sumo Deadlift, you're going to be having it in the middle of the bar. Again, try not to do a reverse grip because that can create many imbalances. So try to have an overhand grip so you don't create any strength imbalances in your back, in your shoulders, or in your arms. So in terms of setting up for a Sumo Deadlift, you have your bar in front of you, you have your position. Now, in terms of your back, you're going to want to keep your back straight, but it's different from a sumo squat. So when you do a sumo squat, you go down like this, and you go up like this. When you do a sumo deadlift, though, you're going to want to have your hips a little bit higher than in a sumo squat. So if this is what I look like at the bottom of a sumo squat, this is what I would look like at the bottom of a sumo deadlift. My shoulders are back, my back is tight and contracted so that when I pull the weight, I'm also using my back, and my hips are a little bit higher. When I pull up, I drive with my hips, I squeeze at the top, but then again, I try not to overextend my hips because one, it's pointless, and two, could cause injury. So, let's say you don't have any weight, you just have a broomstick and you're sumo deadlifting from the top instead of the bottom. You're gonna have your hands like this over the bar, your shoulders back. You're gonna kickstart the movement again with your hips, and you're just gonna do that slight bend and go down like this. So the bar should be following your shins. Then you're gonna go up, drive through your hips, and go like this. Go back down, boom. Again, very different from a sumo squat. We're going like this. Sumo squat, sumo deadlift. When you're down in your deadlift, again, be focused on your knees. Don't let them cave in. You're going to want to be pushing outwards, not letting them fall inwards. I don't know if you can see that. Let me turn. So sometimes when you go down into a sumo deadlift, your legs can do this. Don't do that. You really want to use and engage your glute medius and minimus here. So you're really going to want to push those out so you activate your side glutes and get the full benefit of the movement. Fun little variations that you could do with the sumo deadlift are sumo RDLs. So it's the same thing as a Romanian deadlift, but you're doing it in a sumo stance. This, personally for me, activates my glutes but not my quads. So in a sumo deadlift, a regular sumo deadlift, you will be activating your glutes but also your quads. If you're somebody that loves the sumo stance because it gives you greater glute activation but you don't want to be working the front of your legs, then the sumo RDL is probably your perfect middleman. So you're just going to go same thing. Instead of bending like a sumo deadlift bends at a larger degree than the Romanian deadlift, for example, you're bending like this, so you've got a bigger bend in your knee. You're going to do a Romanian deadlift bend, which is a very slight bend in the knee, but you're going to keep that wide stance, so you're really focusing on the glutes as you're pulling up. So you're going like this. Again, my range of motion is really bad lately, but we're just going to go like this, and then push through the heels, drive through the hips, and come up. You're always going to want to keep your shoulders back when you're doing this to keep a straight line in your back, very important. Yes. You know if the sumo deadlift weight you're using is too heavy is if your hips are shooting up at the beginning of the movement. So if you're at the bottom and you're trying to lift and you're pulling, and your hips come up and then you come up, then the weight is too heavy. It should be a fluid motion. You should just boom, pop up, and then go back down. It really shouldn't be like this. You shouldn't be leaning forward, and sometimes it's very minimal and you can't see. I'm really doing it exaggerated right now, but you really have to film yourself and make sure that you're not falling into the mistake of just really shooting your hips up first, because then you're putting a lot of strain on your lower back. It could cause a lot of injuries and slip discs, and it's not fun. So really make sure that you're using the proper weight, proper form before you start adding weight. So I think that's all I have to say about the sumo deadlift. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I hope this was helpful, and next we'll be doing the conventional deadlift, which is something that I don't do too often, but the sumo is definitely always in my programming, whether it is the sumo RDL or the regular sumo deadlift. It is a shorter range of motion, so personally for me, I find it safer. I also have a lot of back issues, that's why. So if you're somebody with a lot of back issues, you might prefer to do the sumo over the RDL, because it is a very short range of motion and it is heavily based on legs. So you might enjoy that. So yeah, I hope you guys appreciated this video and learned a little bit, and have an awesome day.